I had always wanted to, I won't say always. When I was in undergrad, I did a internship at AFI, and it was such a cool experience. It was like maybe summer of 2007. Yeah. And it was such a great experience. I was like, oh man, I definitely want to come back here. But I think I want to work a little bit first before attending. And
What did you do in that internship?
so I worked both the Lifetime Achievement Award for Al Pacino as like a PA, as well as worked like as a PA for commencement.
Yep.
And that was so cool because I was assigned to help Sean Connery and his bagpiper. I don't know if you remember this particular
Oh, I remember
commencement.
it was up on the Glade. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's like legendary, but you tell the story.
it's so I mean, I just was happy to be there, but they said, okay, you're going to uh like just hang out with this bagpiper. They didn't tell me it was with for Sean Connery. Um, just hang out with him, get him anything he needs, if he needs like water or whatever. And so we just hung out in the Sacred Heart like school down there. And then all of a sudden, like Sean Connery shows up, and I'm like, what? And so he's like chatting with this bagpiper, just like, Scottish sort of things, chatting about, haggis or whatever. And I'm just hanging
That's
out
racist. That's racist.
there.
Wait, so you had only been in LA a few days.
Like
Was
maybe a
this
week, if that.
you had already done the Life Achievement Award, so you'd been around some celebrities?
I don't remember what order it was.
Yeah.
I think I cannot remember. I mean, yeah. So I think it was the commence. I think it was Lifetime Achievement Award first,
Yeah.
uh, and then commencement, and then DWW. So yeah, but I had only been in LA for like a couple weeks at that, and I had met Al Pacino. I got him in a New York Times. That was my PA assignment for the day.
Here's the thing, like we used to do that program. A lot of interns would come out over the summer and work on DW directing workshop for women. It's a program at AFI. And then but those interns, as you're saying, got to work on the two events that needed a lot of support. But usually the interns got stuck like in the basement or like
Yeah.
locking down traffic or doing the worst jobs, right? Like the most menial jobs, especially, which is so funny at Life Achievement Award because we would rent you a tuxedo and then
Hmm.
you'd thrown into the belly of the Kodak theater, just telling people to be quiet or something. But normally you're not like interacting with the ultimate star of the night.
No, and even crazier. Gosh, shoot. I don't remember who I was working for, but they were like, "You're going to be his right hand. Whatever he needs, just like go around with him." And so, that's where he went to meet Al Pacino. And then we went down to the red carpet, and I was like, "Well, I'm supposed to stay with him," so I just stayed right by. Maybe it was Adam. What's his name? But so we're standing there on the red carpet, and people are like going crazy because celebrities are going by, and Adrian Brody went by and asked me if he could like go say hi to the crowd. I'm like, oh sure. I don't know why you're asking me. I guess he thought I was security or
You
something.
should have said no. No, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Mr. Brody. No, you can't.
Yeah, no, I was like really, I was struck by how tall he was, but yeah, no, I was not stuck in the basement by the parking lot. No, I was in the middle of all of that. It was
That is
really
the middle of it.
amazing.
Not only, yeah, being assigned to the most important people there, but you're on the red carpet,
Hmm.
which is like it's chaos, right?
Oh yeah, it was really I mean, it was kind of a good experience to just see how intense that is with all the flashing and the cameras and stuff like that. And all the media people. And no one even really cared I was there. And it was overwhelming. I can only imagine for, the artists and celebrities and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you,
Hmm.
do you remember any interactions besides getting him a paper? Any interactions with Al Pacino?
No, that's I really didn't. It was about that, and he was like busy or something with his family. His family was there, and so I was adjacent,
Mhm.
but other than getting him the New York Times, that was the biggest moment I had with him.
Okay. And so then somewhere around there, cut to you're standing next to Sir Sean Connery.
Yeah, yeah, and so the whole point was just to just whatever they need, I'm getting water, snacks, whatever, and we get in a van and start going up the hill, and the bagpiper needs to warm up. And so he starts warming up with his bagpipes in the van. And I don't know if you've ever been around bagpipes, but they're deafeningly loud, like like sound of a jet airplane. And he hadn't been allowed to warm up downstairs because they didn't want to give away the surprise. But since we were like in the van or whatever, they decided it was okay. But even with my hands over my ears, it was just blaring. And Shot Connery was like losing his mind, laughing, like just having the best time, being driven up the AFI hill with a bagpiper, piping his bagging his pipes, piping his bags, whatever the just
I
play,
like
and
bagging
then
his pipes.
bagging his pipes, and then we get there, and he walks up, and the crowd freaks out. And I'm just like, oh wow, yeah, this is pretty cool. I think I maybe want to come here.
Now, do you remember why he was there?
Uh,
I can tell
other,
you.
I don't remember why he was there, other than like the some commencement speech or something. I don't know. I don't really remember.
Yeah, well, actually, no, now I'm confused. I want to say he was presenting the honorary degree to
Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Sir Howard Stringer, who was the head of Sony, right? Who another night, a night for a night. But the whole the whole I guess show part of this show business moment was that we used to do our commencement outside up on our glade here. We do it now at the TCL Chinese Theater, but was from the back of the whole setup, all these rows of chairs and all these people and families, you would just hear bagpipes, and then everyone turned, and then there was a bagpiper walking up, and then with him was Sean Connery, like milking it, right? Like slowly walking up the crowd, wearing a kilt.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. That's a core memory for me. That's canon for sure.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite AFI moments ever.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was just so awesome. Um, yeah, that's cool. I totally forgot that you were right there next to them all. So there must have been something about you that they trusted you with these high profile jobs.
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'd been doing film for undergrad, but I was super eager, super excited to be there. And that was my first time actually even being in California. Um, it was my first time for a lot of things, and I road tripped out, and it was really like an epic uh because I wanted to experience like physically, because when you fly it's sort of like teleportation, especially if you fall asleep, you just show up. But driving, really, I felt like I was going somewhere. And so I'd driven out here, and I was like renting a sub, like a illegal sublet out in Beverly Hills adjacent. I learned about Beverly Hills adjacent being a thing. It's like, oh man, this place is
Slums of
crazy.
Beverly Hills. Wait, were you
Yeah,
from SIU?
I was from SMU.
SMU, Southern Methodist.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of SIU people there too, though. But yeah, it was great. It meant made a lot of friends, and then we did these directing workshop for women program. And the one I worked on was called Side Effects, and it was like it was rough because it was an overnight, and it was like 4 overnights, and it was both very fun and very challenging. And so it was like a
Mhm.
good introduction to sort of what production can have in store. Um, and yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I mean, I had all prior to that, when I was younger, I'd wanted to be an actor, and I didn't make it into the undergrad program that I was trying for. And so I thought I'd take some film classes instead and, maybe go the backwards route. And I really liked storytelling in that way. And so after that, I was like, okay, I want to pursue this, but I'm not really sure how. And so when this opportunity to do the internship at AFI, that's where I was like, oh, okay, I have to do it. I have to get out there, see what it's like. And I mean, I really fell in love with LA and California and, Hollywood and all the idiosyncrasies that are out here. And so when I graduated from undergrad, like within like 2 weeks, I packed up my car and just came out here. And housing was a little cheaper then. It was a little easier to find an apartment. It was like you just like showed up. I just came out, and then I was like, okay, well, I'll find a place. And I found like a converted hotel in Hollywood that was like a built in the 20s or something. So it was like this historic thing. It was really neat.
That's cool.
Yeah. And
were you the only SMU intern that year?
There were like three or four. There weren't many. No.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Side Effects. I'm looking it up while you're talking. Whose film was that? Who directed it?
I don't remember. It was either Side Effect or Side Effects. I think maybe Side Effect.
I'm looking on your IMDb, but then it's like I don't even know what your role was.
I think I was like art department coordinator or something like that. Gosh, who made that?
The deck. Writer, because there's so many different categories.
It's confusing because there's also they made like a one with Rooney Mara that's like Side Effects.
Oh, you cut out for a second. You still there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there you are. Okay. Oh, there it is. Side Effect. Yeah, your art department coordinator. And it was Liz Adams.
That's right, Liz. How could I forget Liz?
Oh yeah, Liz. I didn't realize it was all night shoots. Was there a reason for that?
Spookiness, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, because it was like a scary thing, right? I remember she was always the horror person.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
And was that your first time working on a film, or had you done that?
It was my first time working on other than the stuff that we did in Texas in undergrad, which was like super, super indie, sort of scrappy. But it was my first experience being on like a professional style, with rules and stuff.
Right. Yeah, that's the one thing about AFI. It's like all the rules, right? Yeah, which, it's the good thing. It's like we teach you how like a studio movie is made, how a real movie's made, so that when graduates go out and make their first movie, they know all the rules to break.
Yep.
It's smart.
It's since being at AFI, I've been shocked by how few of the rules a lot of productions follow. And this is coming from like companies and client directives, where it's stuff like, oh yeah, you put together a video team tomorrow, and you're like, oh gosh, tomorrow. Can you imagine the AFI trying to, oh yeah, we'll figure this out, over the weekend.
Oh no, that would not happen. You'd be shut down at AFI.
Yeah, and the in terms of like crew requirements and stuff like that, it's I mean, some of the like films I've worked on, and like some of the like after let's see, gosh, I've done a few music videos, but other than like proper films, a lot of the branded content and like the sort of commercials and stuff like that have real loosey goosey with rules and permits and things like that, and just not caring nearly as much as I was expecting them to.
Well, so looking at your, like when I was trying to find your Side Effect credit, and I see you have like credits in every single category, every single department on a film, and you say that you started out wanting to act. When you went to film school, did you know what you wanted to do?
No, and I didn't really even think that. I never even really thought of it until the opportunities to do certain things came my way. I was just sort of keeping an open mind, and I actually did. I made a feature in undergrad over spring break, and that's one where I produced it, directed it, wrote it. Had somebody else film, do the cinematography, and I think it was uh, at some point in, I don't know, I'm not sure when. I just sort of realized that I'm not as much into cinematography, which is funny because I've really lately I've been doing a lot of photography,
Yeah.
still photography, and uh, it's just trying different things, and I enjoyed directing, but it's a lot of work, and I've not had that many opportunities to like direct other people's things. And so it's sort of just naturally like producing and working in production. It's just sort of naturally went that way as, you know, I mean, I've tried, I think I tried doing makeup once on somebody's like short film just to understand, you know, uh, to better appreciate what, different departments need.
Yeah.
Um, I've done. I think I've at least tried out every department. I don't think I've tried every. I've never steady camped. I don't know if I'm cut out for that. I would have to. I feel like I would break it.
Very specific thing. But I mean, you came out here, you got the taste of AFI over a summer,
Mhm.
and then you applied and you wanted to come here.
Yeah, so I got the taste over the summer, and then after graduating undergrad, when I came out, I knew that I wanted to go to AFI, but it's I don't know where I got the idea in my head, or maybe somebody suggested spacing it out a little bit and not immediately going from one to the other.
I think that's smart.
And
Yep.
yeah, and because I felt like I haven't had a chance to really refine anything before. And I mean, however people go is, whatever is right for them. But for me, I definitely wanted some time to work in the industry, really understand what it is that I wanted to before actually going to film school. And so I worked in a lot of reality TV. I did a massive amount of PA work on, things like Biggest Loser, Fear Factor, a lot of reality shows, which was really, really good experience as far as like getting, sense of pace and just the intensity of what is expected of us.
Yeah.
And then kind of got burnt out in LA, went up to Seattle for a little bit, tried, big fish, small pond, but I was just still a small fish in even smaller pond, small
You checked
fish,
out
smaller
you went up
pond.
there and checked out the film industry there, the production.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
to see someplace that was just to try something different. I had some friends up there. People had talked about how great Seattle was. I was like, oh, I'll try it up there, and it didn't quite work out. And so I broke my foot and had moved back in with my parents in Texas. And I was like, okay, I gotta get out of Texas. I gotta get back to LA. I don't have enough money to move out here. So why don't I apply to film school and get student loans? And so I used the student loan money to help pay for my move back out to LA and get situated and stuff like that.
Oh, that's a very unique reason to go to film
I
school.
mean, but like I had already wanted to. It was like I know I definitely want to go to AFI at some point. And then it was just whenever I'm ready will be that time. And so then I was in Texas. I was like, okay, I got to get out of here. What's going to be the best and most surefire way to move with like a purpose and to not just flounder. It's like, oh yeah, no, just go and get rid of that student loan money. Comes with a price, of course, but I mean, we do what we have to do
Yeah.
to make these
Yeah.
things happen. And so I had met my well, at the time we were just dating, now my wife, but we had met in Texas, And so I told her very much, that I do not want to stay here, trying to get back out to LA ASAP. And she was very supportive of that. And so, I told her I was going to apply to AFI, and we would sort of figure things out if I got in. And so when I got in, I was like, okay, well, now we got to figure it out. And so we didn't want to move as boyfriend and girlfriend because that just seemed like need more of a like commitment on my part to have her come out here with me. So we decided to get married because we weren't. I knew that I wanted to continue dating, and so after we had only dated for about 4 months, we met in February, got married in July, and
oh my God,
drove out to LA in August, and like as part of our honeymoon, like we told people, don't get us gifts, just like help us get out to LA.
Is she a film industry person?
Now she is. She had done. Amber had studied art history and actually film, cinema, television, but like from a critical, from a critical eye, like a sort of investigating Scorsese kind of deal.
Right.
And but now she works in costumes. Now she actually just got promoted to be the executive assistant to the president at Western Costume Company.
Oh, they're the big costume company. That's amazing.
Yeah, the Western Costume.
Wow, good to know. So if I need a costume hookup, I'm gonna be hitting you up.
Yeah, Sandy actually took a class over. He had reached out. They did like a tour or something like that.
Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, probably in the beginning weeks, like a boot camp.
Yeah, yeah, whenever that was, I don't know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Wait, so you come to AFI with a wife. You remember in those first days, was there any orientation where like a second year fellow spoke to the class and said, now, if anybody's in a relationship, say goodbye to your, spouse or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, and I also remember other people, like I caught like having phone calls with graduates, like, hey, what can I expect? And a lot of people mentioning that like, oh no, a lot of relationships fall through. It's like, oh, well, that's funny.
Yeah, I know it's of course it's not 100%. It does happen, but I don't know why they have to make that a thing every year because it's just it's weirdly adds. It's not like you're going to go break up with someone because someone said that, right?
Yeah.
So then it just plants the seed in your mind.
Yeah, it's a little strange. I do think like, I mean, this was part of the reason why we got married was like, okay, I don't want to be going through something so difficult and intense and just be like, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, it's
right.
That level of like intensity requires a level of commitment. And so I think part of that sort of worked in my favor in that and also we were, let's see, so Amber, we'd only known each other for 6 months at that point. And so a lot of the, I think, drama of AFI, my wife got to experience because, she was trying to find a job. So she worked on a few cycle films and stuff like that. And she was also involved with like supporting as opposed to like it taking away from each other. I don't know. But she got a job at Western probably within about 6 months. So I think it was
so she's been there a while.
Yeah, she's been there almost 9 years, or just coming up on 9 years.
Wow.
Something like that. Yeah, it's so like the first semester of AFI, she didn't have a job, and so we got to do a lot of the AFI things, like on-set stuff together. I don't know if that's maybe a benefit. Maybe that's actually worse for some people, because like,
no, I think if you can, that's the thing. If you can figure out a way to integrate your partner into the AFI program, because the person who enrolls in AFI can't do the opposite, right? Yeah. It's all consuming, right? So if you can figure out a way to, get your partner involved, and the successful stories I've heard are like you and Amber, where
Yeah,
she's on set and she's helping out, and if they're into film or if they discover it that way, even better, because they get that AFI education and experience
yeah,
without the tuition, which is amazing.
yeah. I guess that, yeah, I think that's so for us. It definitely worked for the benefit, and then once she
Yeah,
started working at Western, it was like enough of I had enough going on, and she had enough going on, and it's yeah, I don't know. AFI is really challenging, but at the same time, it's also very easy because all you have to do is like show up and challenge yourself to make a movie. It's like it's pass or
right,
fail, man. Like you
right.
either do it or you don't do it. And to me, I need that kind of I do really good with those kind of dualities.
Yeah,
Like if there's like a limitation where like on set you're like, oh, we can't do it because literally the drawbridge is down or something. Like, oh great, piece of cake, I'm not even stressed.
right.
But when you think you can maybe pull it off, that's the worst.
So you never get too confident.
Yeah, and
But also, that's like the producer, like the job is to solve problems, right? So
mhm,
if you're not doing that, then you must probably feel like someone like yourself is probably like, well, what's my job here?
yeah.
Why can't something go wrong so I can fix it?
Yeah, to some degree for sure. And that's where I always would hate sitting by monitor. I mean, there's a benefit to being able to like watch what's happening and provide feedback from a story point of view. But I get really bored at monitor, and I just really get bored sitting there and seeing everybody like do stuff. And so even on stuff where I'm producing, I can't help but just like futz a little bit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, real producing is, if you've done your job, then, well, on set, there's nothing to do because it's
Hmm.
all in pre production, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay, so you can handle the logistics and you like the challenges, but what about the other part of producing, which really separates the good producers from bad producers, which is collaborating and managing people, right? Communication.
Hmm.
How did you do at AFI?
I think I did really it's fun. As it was happening, I don't even really I can't even remember even thinking about it. But when I reflect back, I think we did a really good job communicating in the groups I was a part of. Um, Especially because there was it where it really made a positive turn for me was actually during cycle one. The cinematographer I was working with was Korean, and spoke English, but in a limited capacity. And we kept butting heads and we kept sort of missing each other in our communication. And it really kind of like exploded when he was asking for more time, and I was saying, "Oh no, I think you can do this. Like I bet you could do this. You could probably make a feature in 2 weeks because you're so talented." He was a very, very talented cinematographer prior to coming to AFI. And that just really completely set him off the rails and really pissed him off because when I was thought I was complimenting him, I guess in Korea, the only people that make movies in 2 weeks are like hack jobs. It's just kind
Right,
of
right.
shitty cinematography.
Yeah.
Nobody of like high value, high quality artistic craft is going at the speeds. And so when I was like trying to amp this guy up and um encourage him, it was doing the exact opposite.
Mm.
And we were like arguing in the parking lot or something, and the director came out and he's like, it's like we just need to get through this. And I sort of expressed sort of what I was trying to say, and he realized what I was trying to say, and then he explained why he was upset. And I was like, oh, and it was just sort of like this aha moment. And I've always felt like I'm a pretty good listener, but after that I was like, okay, really, really, what's the story here? Like, what's the story being told in these conversations? And so every other project, even if we had challenges, I always felt like I did a pretty good job of trying to hear everyone's perspective and, really focus on molding those together to make the best film possible. And, I noticed that I got assigned sometimes to projects that were a little difficult or had challenges of communication. And so oftentimes, like, this would be as a crew member, like as a production manager, where uh, when people were mad at each other, I was brought in to sort of mediate, which I appreciate as like a compliment, but it was also very uncomfortable to be around
Yeah.
people who aren't like talking. And so, there were a couple times where like the producer and the director of a particular project that I was on weren't talking to one another. And so I was having to like relay information between them, and I did not like that. Uh, and so just seeing that has made it so important to me that we all understand we're on the same team and that we're all like, you know, working towards a common goal here. So after it's just like, communication is so important.
Yeah, well, you clearly are a good communicator, not just based on knowing you and talking to you, but also, like you said, being assigned to the problematic productions is a testament to you being a good communicator and problem solver. And I don't know, you have a good vibe, which I know
Yeah,
there's some things you can't teach, and I think like that's one of them, which is
yeah,
you are naturally like you probably get people to calm down and relax and open
yeah,
up.
yeah, I do. And it's my Kenergy.
Oh man, this is your year.
I know I've been saying that to everybody. When I introduce myself to people, if sort of like, sorry, what was your name? I'm saying Ken, like the movie. And
Like the movie, which there's going to be the spinoff that will just be Ken, right?
yeah,
And then
yeah,
then it's your time, man.
yeah.
Did you go? Were you at Halloween? Were
Oh
you
yeah.
Ken? Oh my
I
god.
was we did we do anything? We just stayed home for Halloween.
Hmm.
It's my wife had been working at Halloween Horror Nights as like because between the strikes, Western had been closed down for a little while, and so she had been working at Halloween Horror Nights as like
Hmm.
just part time, and so it was like she was doing night shifts, I was working doing stuff during the day, so we didn't really see much of each other during
Right,
October.
right.
So Halloween, we just stayed at home. So I was a different kind of Ken.
That I don't know why I didn't lead with that, but yeah, you're right. This is everything's, Kenuff and Kenergy, and it's man, you
Oh
must
yeah,
be having a blast.
it's so good, cool, because like that's also been a really something that I've been working on since I was much young, but also in recent years is really like claiming my voice or reclaiming my voice and owning that. Because when I was younger, I was actually in speech therapy till fifth or sixth grade. So I literally had difficulty communicating um, physically.
Hmm.
And after, school and post internship, but before going to AFI, sort of figuring all that out, and then doing AFI and then graduating, uh, I think I really lost like my core voice or like a sense of what it is that I wanted. Because when as a producer, so much of the time we're making stuff for other people. Um, that I really noticed that I was losing my own voice, my own sense of self. And so this year, 2023, and a little bit of like last year has really been moving into that and moving back into me as a storyteller and a filmmaker, not just like as not just a crew member, but really as a producer, and feeling much more comfortable saying, no, no, I have ideas. Here's what I think should happen as opposed to always deferring. So when this movie comes out, it's all about, what's it's like Ken's journey, it's like learning. So I'm like, oh my
So
God,
you manifested this, man. This is your year. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's so cool to hear though, that that you're going through that right now, and
Mhm.
that even though you still have to take jobs and work on other people's things, but you are owning your voice and voicing, you are a creative person, and you're, you know, getting yourself to give that input. Hopefully you're also like working on your own projects.
Yeah, and that's where the photo thing has been really helpful. I mean, I did a feature after AFI, and like, so it burned me out so much. That's also where part of reclaiming sort of my voice has been coming to terms with how that project turned out. I mean, eventually, I mean, it's now out there. It just was such a challenging process.
When you say you did a feature, you produced it?
I produced it,
Yeah.
and we did two crowdfunds. This is the director and I. We did a crowdfund to film some footage for another crowdfund, which we then used to make
But
the
you
movie.
you crowdfunded to raise money to make a crowdfund video?
We crowdfunded a crowdfund.
That is so meta.
Crowdfunded a crowdfund
So
video.
meta.
I know it's really crazy, but so what we did is we filmed a little bit and then used that for the crowdfund, and then used the footage there to put together a better crowdfund video. And in addition, I was also driving Postmates and Uber after being on set, both for other people's projects and my own. And so we would sometimes be filming, if we were filming in Santa Monica, on my way home I think I was living in Hollywood at the time. On my way to Hollywood, I would just put on Uber or Uber Eats or Postmates, whatever I was feeling like at the time, and just pick up some jobs on the way home and keep driving until,
Yeah.
I either got
Weave your
close
way
to
home
home.
and make that's actually, I mean, it sounds exhausting,
It
but
was.
it's efficient, and it's, hey, you're scrappy. You're a worker.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so for what's funny, the film is called The All Nighter, and now it's on Tubi and Amazon and stuff like that. And the main character, he needs to make money, and one of the things he does is he starts driving Uber as a Uber taxi.
Hmm.
Uh but but it was very, very triggering because I'm like, I'm doing this myself to make money for this movie that we're filming. Because it was like, need money for Crafty the next day, or like the next couple days, or actually a couple times I was driving Postmates after being on set of this movie so I could pay the crew.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, okay, I just a couple hundred short, so we're gonna drive Postmates for a few.
But it was on you?
Yeah,
So you started shooting, but you didn't quite have the whole, you knew going in you didn't have it all?
yeah. So we had almost enough, and things, not we didn't have any contingency, and so as things would pop up, it was sort of borrowing from the future. And so in order to make sure that we were able to, finish the movie, gotta do a little bit of that, a little bit of creativity.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you just have to get it done when you're making your first
Hmm.
film.
Yeah.
Well, congrats on finishing it, and you said it's on Amazon. That's great.
Yeah, this is actually my third feature. So maybe I'm really dumb because I haven't learned my lesson.
Yeah, you got to get other people to pay for. Well, I guess you did do a Kickstarter and all that, but
Yeah.
wait, I'm looking at it on IMDb right now. I see that Marchen shot it.
Uh-huh.
That's very cool.
Yeah. We
AFI
had a
connection.
couple of actually we had three AFI DPs for each. I think we actually filmed it in 3 or 4 pieces. So we would do 2 or 3 days here, and then 2 or 3 days here, 2 or 3 days here. But Martin, yeah, he filmed the bulk of it. And then also Josh Fisher filmed a little bit, and then Scott Ray filmed a little bit.
Cool.
It's like I don't know. I don't know what the percentage is anymore. But and then yeah, we had a bunch of AFI people or AFI adjacent people. Like I don't know if you remember Delroy. He's a sound mixer, but he was he worked on like 42 or 43 somewhat of the cycle films as a sound mixer, and like
Yeah.
got the AFI experience. And
Yeah.
I always try and bring him on projects because I feel like he was like honorable AFI mention.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, but
I love people like that. Yeah.
yeah, he was there, and it was awesome. I mean, we did our casting at AFI.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I think we're the reason there's like a fee now, because I think we did like 17 castings. It was crazy. We abused the
Oh, you just
privileges.
kept calling in the favors.
Well, I mean, the director, she couldn't just didn't find the right chemistry for like what we were going for some of the roles, and so it just took a lot of sessions to really just like get the right cast.
Yeah. Well, if you did it now, we have this alumni center, which
Yeah,
is have you seen it?
I have been to that room. I took one of the classes with Carrie. Carrie.
Oh yeah, the one she did on the weekend. Yeah. So wait, let's talk about, because you said 3 features you've
Mhm.
produced. Okay.
So I did one in undergrad, like over spring break, that was really, really scrappy. That I wrote and directed. It was like a senior, I guess you call it a senior thesis, but in the fall semester, we came up with a project idea, and we could do whatever it was we wanted. Um, if you want to write a script, and then so do in the fall all the prep for your script, and then write it in the spring. But I was like, okay, well, I'm going to write the script in the fall and then filmed it in spring over spring break. And it's called Zombie Love. It's about a man whose wife dies, and he decides to resurrect her from the dead, but she comes back as a zombie. And
Cautionary tale.
it was a lot of fun. It didn't quite turn out like I'd hoped. Just I was too young, and not enough resources. But then after I came out here, I connected with a team of people, and we did a feature called Obsolytia. We actually took that to Sundance. It was the writer director. It was her first feature, and it's about a man who he's cataloging all the obsolete things in the world, and he meets a woman who is sort of trying to avoid the past, and they go out to Death Valley to meet a scientist that predicts the end of the world. It's a little bit of a road trip where they realize that they're both missing out on what's most important at the present moment. And
It premiered at Sundance.
yeah, it premiered at Sundance. It was
That's
crazy.
huge.
It was
That's awesome.
awesome. I didn't know how to Sundance, you know? And so what I did was I went to every movie screening I could. I basically sat in the theater for 8 to 10 hours each day. And
Oh, then you did it wrong.
I did not do any networking other than like in line to see the movies, because I was like, well, I'm at Sundance.
Why
Would
would
I
you go to
not want
movies at a film festival? Are you crazy? Have we
I
taught
know,
you
right?
nothing?
Well, that was before AFI.
Right.
And
No, it
then
is funny. It takes a couple trips to Sundance to figure out, like, oh,
yeah,
people don't go to movies here. They
uh-uh.
go to here to meet and network. And
Yeah, they go to meet and network, and I met a few people, but still, it was like I met Mark Ruffalo in line.
that's
He
cool.
was nice.
Yeah.
But it's just no, I didn't. I had no idea what to do next, so that's where I worked in reality for a minute, and
Hmm.
that's where like I knew AFI would be a good idea in the future, especially after it was like, okay, well, how do I follow up this project? Um, Tried like some shorts, just never couldn't really get anything to stick or to see it through. But then, after going to AFI and really just better understanding how just the process works. I mean, there's still stuff that we learn afterwards.
Well, that's where the real learning happens.
Yeah, but just like being able to take what I learned at AFI, and now when I go to a festival and all that stuff, it
Yeah.
definitely means a little. I don't know. Now I feel like I'm a little bit more targeted and stuff like that, and really more more like a filmmaking missile or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, because you've experienced so much, so like
Hmm.
what what isn't for you.
Hmm.
That's the thing with producing. There's so many different ways to go. There's so many
Yeah.
different areas to go, and you've tried directing and writing, and not tried it, but you've done it. But you probably know what you respond to now, right?
Yeah, and especially as far as like scripts, and I can definitely sort of got a very good like red flag radar. Like if I know if something is going to be really rough long before. Um,
For
and
a script and for probably for a collaborator, right? For
for a
somebody.
collaborator, for a script, especially if it's like, oh, this script is going to be really challenging. It's got, if this script is not necessarily going to be doable for what these filmmakers want to achieve. But also, yeah, in with terms of like collaborators and clients, um, and other people that I'm working for. Yeah, it's like the Spidey sense really, really comes through strong now, which I'm very thankful for. I mean, I still end up like having to do some of these. Like I worked on a job recently where I didn't. I guess technically I didn't get fired, but I didn't get rehired because the person I was working for, I had to tell them to speak respectfully to me and to let me do the job I was hired for, which was producing. Um, and so this
How
person
dare
was
you? How dare you?
micromanaged, and it just like really set them off. And it was like, how dare you? So yeah, I mean, but I knew that one was going to be kind of iffy, but money's a little tight, with between
Sure.
the strikes and stuff like that, and so
Yeah.
I have not been as discerning recently.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. Wait, I want to go back to AFI because
Hmm.
now that I'm piecing it all together, so you come into AFI with two feature films under your belt as a
Yeah.
producer. One of them goes to Sundance. One of them, so you're a Sundance producer of two feature films, and you're starting film school.
Yep.
Does that well, first, like, how do you think the other people in your class reacted to that?
I think at first people were quite excited. Not to say that I let them down, but I think that the way that sounds on paper and the way you introduce somebody like that is
Yeah.
a lot different than the reality of it, which is that yeah, we went to Sundance with a very small indie film, and it actually won a couple of awards. Um, but it's not like the same thing as maybe if I were Spielberg or somebody, like earlier in their career, but still like really established. Um,
But like, but that's the balance, right? Because if you were, then you wouldn't be at
yeah,
film
I
school,
guess not.
right? But it's
Hmm.
a good lesson. If people saw it clearly that, oh, you think that's the end game, and if you make it to Sundance, you're set for life. But the reality is, most films and filmmakers that go there, they end up like you. End up
Hmm.
meaning like it doesn't launch your career. It's the ones you hear about in the headlines, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, our Sundance year was not rough, just in that the film that we were up against was Winter's Bone,
Mm.
and it is so good. Have you seen
Yeah,
Winter's Bone?
of course. Yeah, I mean that launched Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, yeah. So like that's the film that beat us out, as far as like really getting the all the
Well,
press.
at least you can say like
Right? No, it's a
you
good
can't argue
movie.
that. You're like,
I,
hey,
and I'm totally get it. I mean, that one, it's way more ours about is about a librarian who goes on a road trip. Winter's Bone was way more of intense film, and so it's not. I don't feel like I missed out on anything at all. But the somebody did ask me. I was like, okay, so why would you go back to film school? And for me, it was that I knew that there was more I could learn, and there I knew that I could continue to like really refine myself as a storyteller and as a producer. Um, and that this was one way to like really amplify that and like jumpstart it, not having to it's like a multiplier, from after being in AFI, every experience is like is twice as valuable or something to me. I don't know,
Mm.
to where I feel like I get a lot more, even out of stuff where, this year I've even picked up a few PA jobs, just like, like Leal, a few of
Yeah.
his jobs where, he needs somebody to work. I'm like, I need the money. There's nothing else happening because of the strikes. And I actually really like it. It's nice not to have all the responsibility. And
You're like, that
I
guy's the producer. Don't bother
yeah,
me.
no, it's great. And then, I mean, this sounds crazy, but I'm able to go stand by monitor. And since the first AD is right there by monitor, I can peek and peer all I want, and take in as much knowledge as I want. I just occasionally have to go like take out the trash. And so it's
Yeah.
been really, really actually awesome to go back to some of like my earliest jobs, truck PA and stuff like that, and just go back to basics and just say, okay, how can I be the most like supportive PA possible? Like taking all what I've learned at AFI, which is funny, and just really anticipating everything that's needed on set, just for the sake of, because, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't have to.
I mean,
Um,
this also answers the question you said people would ask you, why would you go back to film school? It just shows that like you at your core are just a lifetime film student. Like you're
mhm,
back on sets, just soaking it up, right?
yeah,
And it's like, the ultimate question is like, is there life after film school? Your life should always be film school if you want to
yeah,
work in the film industry.
yeah. No, I think so. I think I would. I mean, I would suggest to everybody. That's when they first come out to LA, like PA on a few things. But even later in the career, just to take that moment to be humble and to really, to me, what PAing is about supporting the it's to me it's the most supportive job on set. Uh, you help the most people, you have the most impact on everybody doing simple things like setting up lunch and all that. And so to me, it's very much like a Buddhist practice. PAing, and I treat it when I do get these opportunities. If I can, I usually say yes. If I'm not working on something else, just because I think of it that way, as like, how do I be of service? And every single time it either leads to like a cool experience, or meeting some interesting people, or learning sort of like, even when things go bad, like with I worked on a music video 2 weeks ago. Lunch was 3 hours late. 3 hours. But
Tough.
I mean, a lot of people were grumpy. I mean, I had just some snacks and I was like, all right, I mean,
Yeah.
meal penalty or whatever. But I would never want to see what that is like on my own set, to have a 3 hour late lunch. But seeing how people reacted on this one was very valuable. And so,
Yeah.
it was just really great to yeah, just to learn in a way. It's hard work, sure.
What a great way to look at it. Every single scenario is like something you can learn from that you can apply to your
Hmm.
filmmaking career, your producing career. And that message of like, how can I be of service? It's interesting because it came up recently. We did a kind of a career coach came and just like answered whatever various questions different disciplines had. And, he said that like always like, let that be your mantra, right? Like, as far as, people are like, how do you network? How do you work a party? How do you, do this? How do you meet these people? And if you come at it from the mindset of how can I be of service, which I've always tried to do, at AFI. It's like, how can I
Yeah,
help you? How can I help you as an alum? How can I help you as a fellow? You know, it's sometimes you can smell it when it's forced, but like, who cares? But it's the best way to network, to start a relationship, to just say, hey, we're here to help. I'm here to help.
yeah, it totally is. And it's where I find that it's when I don't know what else to do, or if I don't know what to do, the thing that I always go back to is like, how can I help someone, with something, whatever that something may be. And it usually breaks whatever, it's writer's block, go help somebody. You
Yeah.
know, getting career woes, go help somebody. And it's yeah, it's a different way of looking at the world. I don't think a lot of people think that way.
Yeah, it's just getting out of your own head, you
Hmm.
know? It's getting out of like just thinking about yourself. And I mean, literally it is. It's just not thinking about yourself, and it will unlock things and hopefully just let you realize, oh wait, not everything's about me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, oh gosh, that's one that a lot of that mentality, it's like about me, I think, in creative arts. And I did notice that a lot at sometimes at AFI.
Yeah.
Uh, but the people I think that did the best and achieved the things that they wanted to achieve really, really were able to get beyond that sort of not ego in like the pejorative, but just sort of like that really think of themselves as the fabric, you know, like up, not just being at AFI, but being AFI, I guess, is sort of how I kind of felt.
That's wow. I've never heard it said like that. And that's really cool. I kind of
Because I mean,
yeah.
otherwise it's just a building, you know, and it's just
Yeah.
a bunch of books and I guess some DVDs. But really what makes AFI is the people.
Yeah.
And like a library is a library because of the people who use it. And like a school is a school because of the people who are teaching there and the people who want to learn. And you know, that's where to what you're saying is, you know, life is film school. Um, everyone is my classmate and everybody's my teacher. Uh, no matter whether they're like their first time on set or something. I think I can probably learn more from somebody who's never been on set. So they teach us patience and like
It's those are really fun to be around, you know, that
yeah, teach us
wide-eyed and excited about everything happening. You
mhm.
reinvigorates you. You're like, oh yeah, wait, this is I'm always trying to like push that message. Like, remember why you got into this? Because it was fun. It was like an
Yeah.
excuse to hang out with your friends and do something fun.
Yeah. I used to joke. I didn't come to AFI to make friends. I came to win. But I made a lot of friends.
That's why you did so well in reality TV.
Yeah, yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, I made a lot of friends. I didn't go to a lot of parties, to be honest. And somebody did say their one piece of advice was to avoid the drama. And I didn't go to as many parties as I probably could have or should have to like network. Um, but I've always been like I really like to network by working. And so the
Yeah.
people that I got to work with, either through Cycle or Thesis or DWW, are all pretty much people I stay in touch with in some way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just thinking through. Yeah, the people that I'm closest to are the ones that I worked for.
Who was your thesis team?
So I did two. I was with Santiago and Raza and Chris Young,
Mm-hmm.
and we had an outside PD. And then I also wrote a thesis for Mary Merkins and Rena and Rosie, and I think we had an outside PD.
Hmm. Wow, a producer got their thesis greenlit. That's shocking. How
Yeah, yeah,
Rasa, by the way, has just been killing it out there.
yeah.
Like constantly like shooting features, and his work is amazing.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think he said he was like on his eighth or ninth or tenth or something. It's like,
yeah, and then shooting shorts in between. Like he just did one with Christopher Greenslate, that we just watched the other
oh
day.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's cool.
Greenslate directed it. It was really good.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, uh, that's cool though. That's you did too.
Yeah, I was very thankful. Yeah, I know. I definitely appreciate that they let me do that. But there was like one at the very beginning, and then our it was at the very very end. So
Yeah.
it's like very very
So,
wide.
so what is something that you learned at film school that you took on into your career?
I would say it the intensity, the intense focus on story and really making everything story and treating that as the lifeblood of everything that we're doing is something is probably the biggest takeaway I got from AFI. And really learning how to cut through everything else and just what is supporting that story. That's bread and butter at AFI. It's story work.
Yeah. I know you can usually tell if someone went to AFI in any of the disciplines if they start asking questions from the point of view of story.
Yeah. And I've started really thinking about that even when I was redoing my website and stuff like that, and just thinking about, okay, how do I tell my story in this particular format? Thinking of it, and then even Instagram and stuff like that. Not, I've had Instagram for a long time, but really focusing more on using it as a narrative tool.
Yeah.
In addition to like a promotional tool and just like a time killer, but just really thinking about how is the art that I create contributing to my story.
That's a really, it's a very intentional way to do it. And I'm always impressed by those Instagram pages that are so like perfectly, like they all fit together and they all make sense. And then I look at mine, I'm like, why is there a picture of a meatball? And then there's a picture of me at a Halloween party. Like, what am I doing?
Maybe it makes more sense than you think. I don't know.
I'm going to figure out that story. There's a meatball. That's one of the main characters.
That seems very, very, very appropriate.
The meatball's journey.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to be cognizant of your time.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I do
no,
want
it's all good.
Okay. Well, I want to bring it back to, because something you talked about, which, it's communication is so important for producers, but anyone in this industry, hell, anyone doing anything. But you said that you had speech therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you were younger. And do you think we agreed that one of your skills, one of your weapons is your communication skills. Do you think having to go through speech therapy and really kind of focus on it and analyze your own communication helped you become a better communicator in general?
Yes, but it wasn't until I was older that I really thought about not just what I'm saying, but the why of what I say. And it definitely made me more articulate and probably set the groundwork, or like in sort of the way you prep a bed for when you garden in the springtime. Maybe it was like prepping the soil for a future in communication, because it's really hard to see what it would be like without, if I hadn't gone through this experience, right?
Yeah.
And I know plenty of people that are great communicators that didn't go to speech therapy. And I know plenty of people who didn't go to speech therapy, who didn't need to, and they can't communicate at all.
Sure.
Terrible. But
Sure.
I do think that since it's something that I had to learn how to do, from like a professional, that it's definitely made me more curious with things like I'm fascinated by language and what words mean and what symbols mean, and that's what I really really love about filmmaking and storytelling through film, because we have so many symbols that we get to play with.
Mm-hmm. Or create
and we also have the words, and there's so many layers to all that. But I do think going through that experience of having to learn how to talk from somebody other than just copying our parents, probably changed the way I see the world, or changed the way I think about the world, or maybe engage with it. So it's like, it's just sort of one of the things we learn how to do, right? It's just, no one ever is like, oh, you have to teach the kid how to talk. They start talking.
Yeah, it's one of the things we have to learn how to do, but it's again, it goes back to intentionality. Like, how are we going about it? How is someone guiding us through it? Are they just letting you learn? Or, if you do have to focus on it and study it, there's something about the way you process information. I watch you, before you say something, you really think about it. And then the way you take your time to communicate it, that I feel like most people don't do. So that could just be, I don't know if that's nature or nurture or what, but
It's usually a little bit of both, isn't it? Right?
yeah. All I know is it's something good. And, I feel like you should be teaching a course on it, if you knew what you were doing.
Yeah. Oh,
But another thing about AFI, when you said that you're really interested in language, but you were talking about that Korean cinematographer, which is like, it's not unique to AFI, but we do have a big percentage of international fellows here, right? So you are forced to communicate and collaborate with people from all over the world, and they all have varying levels of English speaking skills. And people have to navigate that, and some people are good at it and some people are bad at it. And you figured that out. But do you think that's another thing that kind of helped you, like being intentional and being aware of it, right? A lot of people go through AFI and they don't even know, or they fail at it, but having to communicate with all those other different people in your class.
Yeah, I think so. Also, I mean, I'd also done a bit of just like like therapy and counseling when I was younger, and it definitely makes me think more about how I'm engaging with somebody and how best to get my own point across. But I was thinking I've never done a debate class or anything like that, and so I've never learned that sort of, I don't want to call it combative. I can't think of a better word, but sort of, some people have sort of an adversarial type approach to communication or even negotiation, like all this AMPTP stuff. And
yeah, we need to get you in the room.
Right? Oh my God, I would solve this. It's just like, guys, can't we know that I would never, because I would just give the guilds everything that they want. But I try to think of everything as there's never a zero-sum game, that we're always trying to find some amount of compromise. And whatever it's going to take, with, I guess, very few exceptions, I'm usually willing to find a compromise to make something work, because it's always, well, at least on set or in the context of film, it's about getting the story done, and it doesn't matter if I'm right if the movie doesn't get made. And so I've definitely, as I've been gotten older and had more experience on set, learned that some things just don't matter as much, and being able to like let certain things go. And not to put my parents on blast, but growing up, they were very much always it was all about finding fault and who's to blame for something. There always had to be somebody that was the cause. And however petty it was, I mean, once they established that, then they'd move on. But it was just so obsessed with, who caused the thing. And I am who cares who caused the thing? What are we going to do about it? I definitely think it helps me on set as far as problem solving. So trying to figure out, well, whose fault is it? It's like, well,
yeah, the hours wasted on that, especially when time is limited on set. Whereas it's so valuable to have someone like yourself that will just say, doesn't matter, how do we fix it? I'm the same in relationships, friendships, at work. Who cares? Like, how do we solve it? Especially when it's something urgent.
Yeah.
So good quality for everyone to share. Okay, last thing, I'll ask you this.
Oh, sure.
Because it sounds like film school was mostly really good experience for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was missing now that you've been out in the real world and you did the real world before film school? What was a piece now that you look back and you go, oh God, I wish film school had included this, had talked about this, had taught us this?
I was, this sounds so naive, but I was unprepared for how little film school would matter after
Okay, that'll be all.
graduating.
Thank you. Yeah.
I had no illusions that it would be still a challenge to try and get a movie made and get some attention. But I did think that having AFI on my resume and having been at AFI would matter more to more people. But there's still the biggest thing is who's in it, how much does it cost, and am I going to risk anything on it? And that's business. That's business, babe.
Yeah.
And I don't think it makes film school any less valuable, the experience less valuable to me, because I do know that it made me a better storyteller. But I think I could have been maybe maybe a little bit more emphasis on the networking side of things, which is like how do you learn how to network, but really learning how to leverage like the network that we have and how to build on that. Um, we did learn a bit of that, but just like learning really how to target it and who's going to be most important to each of us.
Mhm.
So I think I was still maybe relying too much on being found or wanting to be found.
I mean, like letting your work speak for itself and they'll come to me.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not even like letting my work speak, but as far as tooting my own horn and really promoting myself,
Mm.
because I do think that I wanted my work to speak for myself as opposed to like having to say, "Oh, I'm the best," hire me.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is say, "I'm the best, hire me because of my work." Uh,
Don't
because
listen to me. Listen to Sundance. Yeah.
yeah, I very like authenticity is really important to me, and I really want people. I want to know that when I'm hired on something or when somebody wants to work with me, it's because of legitimately of what I have done, not just because I've done a good job at selling myself. Um, and so I've been a little bit of a overcorrection back to sort of okay, it's okay. I mean, we can still do that and promote ourselves. And
Yeah.
so learning how to better promote myself and to treat and basically how to be my own agent, I guess, is what I'm learning uh, more now.
Yeah. Well, this is, as we spoke about, it's your year of reclaiming
Yeah,
your power.
yeah,
So this is the time to do that.
yeah, it sure is. And I mean, everything happens whenever it happens. So it's like I could we can get spend all day saying I wish I would have done this sooner, but now is the right time for me. So
Yeah. And the good news is that like those film school connections, they don't go away, right? They
mhm.
they still exist. You just have to
Yeah,
reignite them. And I'm glad that you're coming out to like the barbecues and like things like that. And we'll figure out other ways to get you more involved. But like I do think that those are important and they lead to things and
mhm.
especially with some distance and maturity. Not that you were ever immature, it sounds like, but
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like in general, for other people that I've talked to, it's like good to, you know, come back, come back and
totally.
connect. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's good to take some space and connect. I mean, we were forced to take some space with the old Rona with the panini. Uh, so sometimes I'm a little hard on myself, and for better or for worse, I forget about the COVID and all that. I'm like, well, why wasn't I networking? Because you were working from home for 2 years, you idiot.
Yeah. No, you got to like eliminate those years. They don't count.
Don't worry about
You
it.
get a
And
pass.
so
Give
yeah,
yourself a pass. Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
within that, still just sort of really understanding that, like, I need to say, oh no, this is the stuff that I'm doing, and really pushing my work on the different like social media platforms, and
Yeah.
like reaching out to agents and critics, and hey, here's the things I'm doing. Uh,
Yeah. Well, for example, the movie that you just produced,
mhm.
that's on Amazon.
Yeah.
Did we put that out in the alumni newsletter?
Uh-huh.
We did.
Yeah,
Okay, good. That
that
means you
was
told us.
I told the June is what, June or July, whichever, I forget,
Okay,
whichever
good.
one
Good.
of the ones, but the yeah.
All right.
So
I just want to make
I'm
sure.
getting
Yeah.
on it. Yeah,
Okay.
thanks for asking. Yeah, it was great. It was yeah, the now Amazon does not pay much.
Yeah. That's what I hear. Yeah. Unless they produce your movie, but
Yeah.
yeah. But it's there, and also I think Amazon is non-exclusive, right? Like they don't own it, right?
Correct.
Right. So something to look into are these fast channels and SVOD. Have you looked into those?
Yeah, so we there's a company, Indie Rights. Have you heard of them? They're
No, but I know
they're,
there are a
they're
bunch of these.
Yeah, so they're basically, I wouldn't say they're bottom of the barrel, but they work with very small independent films, and they helped us get it on Amazon and get it on some of these ones. And so they won't do any promotion other than, I mean, they're at AFM and they have our poster up.
Yeah.
But they at least provide some framework, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so they helped us out, get it on Amazon, and a few things. It's like just a good. They're good just to even just like a sounding board.
Yeah. And what about the other one? What about the Sundance one?
So that was with so that was on, it was on Netflix actually. Uh
Oh yeah, you said that.
yeah, but now it's on Amazon. It's on the iTunes. It's like you
Okay.
can like rent it. But yeah, it was actually, yeah, it was available for rent on Netflix for a while
That's
before
cool.
before Netflix started cutting all the stuff.
Their license deals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Only
but
showing their own stuff. Yeah.
yeah, that's how it goes. But we were with gosh, what's the name of it? Cinovate? Uh it's another,
A distributor? Is that the
yeah,
distributor?
distributor. Yeah, it's funny. They got bought. We were with one, but then they got bought by another, and then they got bought by a bigger one. And so now I just mentioned the bigger one. So
Oh, and one day, like, Apple will buy them and you'll be like, yeah, my
yeah,
movie's with Apple. Yeah.
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 I mean that's I don't. I mean that's what I say with the All Nighter. It's like, oh yeah, my movie's on Amazon. You have to
No,
rent
but
it.
that does mean something. And so,
It does.
yes,
Yeah. I mean yeah.
shout that and shout that and promote the hell out of that. And, I know it's always hard then getting the next one and you can't do it the way you've been doing it forever.
Mm-mm.
Right. So, is there anything, cooking?
Lately I've really been enjoying photography, so we'll see where that goes. In part because it's just a lot easier to manage.
Yeah.
Because even a short film, like I did a short film with a friend of mine in April, and now we've submitted to a bunch of festivals, so we're just waiting to hear back. But it's really short. It's just like a 4 minute, kind of like a haiku little vignette from one of the there's like these tour guides, the horse tour guides that take people to the Hollywood sign.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's like a semi biographical vignette from his life. It's
Mhm.
the kind of thing where it definitely, something like that has happened, but this particular scene is completely fake.
Okay.
Just like a simple, and so, but that we're using it maybe to turn into a feature, not a haiku feature, but sort of maybe some stories there, and then but yeah, the photography thing's been fun. So I might try and do a lot more of that, because I've photo produced, like in the branded content side of things.
Yeah.
But I really enjoy working with people and being directly creative.
Yeah.
Sort of, I guess photographer is also kind of like a directing role. But
Yeah, oh, for sure. You're
mhm.
you're doing everything all at once, right?
Yeah,
Production
but it's
design and lighting and
uh-huh.
directing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot easier when it's just one frame versus, trying to do 24 frames a second for 10 minutes.
I will check out your stuff after this. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
your Instagram? Is that where you have
Yeah.
most of it?
I've got a photo website. I've split that off from I've got two websites now.
Wow.
But yeah, I've got my kenmorris.photography is my uh
Okay.
photo website. And then also on Instagram, kenmorris.photo.
Okay.
Mhm.
Are you getting hired as a photographer?
I'm getting there are people that want to work with me. They just haven't been paying much.
Well, that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
Yeah, no, but there's actually, yeah, a few people I've done like some portrait sessions and some documentary coverage that's been a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And mostly it's just been a great way to just to meet some new friends. People have asked me, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, are you gonna keep on doing this?" It's like, yeah, I think so. It's a great way. It really is a great way to meet people. It's just
Oh,
like,
yeah. I play too. I mean, I'm shooting through my camera right
yeah.
now, my DSLR.
Oh,
Um,
nice. I was
I
gonna try and get mine set up, but it's just too much.
I had it all set up during COVID because I was doing a lot of moderating Q&As
Yeah.
for AFI, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have a professional setup, and then I
Oh,
broke it all
great.
down. But then for this, I've been trying to use it. But I'm
Yeah,
looking at
yeah, it
your
looks good.
photos. I'm looking at your
Oh,
stuff right now.
nice.
Yeah. This is cool. Sometimes film, mostly digital. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I actually I taught myself to develop film this year.
Well, you do it at home?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I had been going to a lab, but it was getting expensive.
Yeah.
And the company I was working for, when they let most of the people, they let a bunch of people go, myself included. I was like, well, I can't afford to go to a lab, so how do I develop film on it cheap? So
Yeah.
I got on YouTube and learned.
Is YouTube's amazing for that, right?
It's amazing.
And is it once you learn it, is it pretty easy?
If you can mix a drink, if you can make an old fashioned, you can develop film. You just have to be a little bit more careful not to expose it to light. But you're mixing chemicals. You just don't drink these ones. It really is. I
Hey,
mean,
you make
black and
your own
white's
rules.
easier,
Don't tell me
but
what to do with my chemicals. By the way, that's the title of this. It's like if you can make an old fashioned, you can develop your own film.
yeah.
That's I love it. That's so cool. I love that you found a cool new passion and
Yeah.
you're really really turning it into something. So
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. In the meantime, right now I'm just sort of waiting I'm trying to stay busy, but not get so caught up in like because when's the strike going to be over? I don't know. It's hard to make plans
yeah,
and to like take meetings, and so that's where the photo thing has sort of filled that gap where I can still connect with people, meet people, still be creative, still tell stories.
yeah.
Um, but we'll see.
The best kind of photography. I mean, the way to like just practice for me has always been on set BTS
Yeah.
photography.
Oh, I'd love that.
Oh, you're around filmmakers, and you have the easiest job on set, and you have
Yeah.
access everywhere, and everything is perfectly lit for you, even
Yeah.
crew members. And there's always something happening, something dramatic. Somebody's playing with equipment.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love to do more of that. I snuck a little bit of that in on this music video I was working on. And
Yeah.
and shared it with because they had somebody else that was doing stills, but they weren't doing BTS. They were doing like stills of the artist,
Oh,
and so it was different.
production stills. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
But I'm like, yeah, but I want to photograph the people that like the crew members and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
the
There you go.
the
So
the
anytime you go on
really
set,
hardcore
have your
workers.
camera with you. Yeah. That's the other great part about it is that you can just always, it's like, it's just a little piece of equipment.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Yeah. I mean, everybody relies on this thing now, but come on, you're a real photographer. Ken, this has been a blast. Thanks
Yeah,
for so much
thanks.
time.
You're